Five, four, three, two, and one. Welcome back to Two Cups Cafe, where I'm your host, Alan C. Jackson, and who I have coming through for a high quality caffeinated conversation today is none other than my main man, Joe Diggins. What's up, Joe?
What up with you, Big Al?
Not too much, man. I'm so glad you just came through, man. Chop it up with me for a little while, brother.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So, man, we got kind of reconnected a couple years ago, man, at our 30th year class reunion. We spent some time in Mexico, man,
Yep.
and you know how sometimes you don't really realize you need something until it happens, man. And that trip, man, really transformed like my life, man. I was just so happy just to reconnect with all you guys, man.
Yeah.
And we just had a good time.
We did, man. It was good to see all of y'all, and like you said, man, we reconnected and did it big over there in Cancun.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
And so, man, we go back, man. We played football together back in high school, man.
doubt.
You was
Bulldogs.
you was 45 and I was 54. You know,
Yeah.
we played
Linebacker.
linebacker. I was inside linebacker, even though I was kind of a smaller guy. We had we had to make it work, man. But
No doubt.
but we was tough, man. We was tough and mean, and
Did what we had to do,
yes,
right?
sir. I know
Yeah.
the team, man. We got a lot of our personality from you, man. You almost was an old soul back then, man. Our pregame warm up song. What you dropped a bomb on me or something
Oh
like that?
man, all that old school, bro. We played it all. Earth, Wind, and Fire, the Gap Band.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We did it old school.
Yeah, man. So tell me a little bit, man, how you grew up, man. Like you have big family, little family, brothers, sisters, whatnot.
Yeah, so I had a nice sized family, man. Out of the siblings, it's like 9 of us.
Okay.
What I got about 3 older sisters, 4 older brothers, and we all didn't stay in the same house.
Okay.
Right. But yeah, we had a nice sized family. So all the family gatherings,
Yeah.
it was good. It was good.
So was music part of the gatherings? Or?
No, you know what? It was pretty much, man, we always watched the sporting events.
Okay.
Big football games, Super Bowl, NBA championship.
Yeah.
We always was watching the sports,
Okay.
things of that nature.
So did you grew up both parents?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. My dad had, his kids and whatnot.
Mhm.
And my mom had my older brother as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was just me and my brother Glenn in the house.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, it's awesome, man. I remember just the high school times, man. Tell me, so we played football, and I know you went away. Well, kind of away, about at least half hour away.
Half hour, that's it.
To
Hop, skip, and the
school.
jump.
Now, were your intentions you play ball there or?
No, I was gonna walk on,
Okay.
but I had ended up getting an injury.
Okay.
And it was at one of our family gatherings, matter of fact. But after I healed from that, I ended up doing the semi-pro
Okay.
football for a little
Yeah,
bit,
Yeah.
and that was a fun time. Yeah, we had a good time with that.
Yeah. How long did you play that?
We probably did that I did about 3 years with them.
Okay.
Yeah, 3
Yeah,
years.
that's in my pro ball. Well, that gladiators right there.
Yeah, strictly. Yeah, we out there, man. We playing ball just like, almost like the pros, but we didn't have all the perks.
Right.
So
Right.
that was short-lived, I'll say that. Yeah.
I heard that because
Yeah.
you gotta get up, go to work.
You got to get up and go to work, and sometimes you limp in there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so yeah, I had to get paid, so some
Yeah.
had to go.
Yeah, so you wind up. Did you meet your wife back here, or did you meet her in college, or how that happened?
No, my Sharonda, man, we've been cool since like almost junior high.
Okay, yeah.
Been knowing her since that long, and we didn't actually get together till after college or whatnot.
Okay.
But I knew her all through high school and everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so you were involved in so football was one activity, but I know you were involved in like a how would you describe? Was it Xenos Kudos?
Kudos.
Kudos.
Yeah,
So how
yeah,
would you
Kudos is-
describe that? Like,
Oh man, that was a fun time too. It was a bunch of us, high schools, from Toledo Public, some of the parochial schools as
Yeah.
well. Basically, man, we just got together, and it was more like an educational thing.
okay.
Miss Bates, it was a whole bunch of like figureheads here in Toledo
Yeah.
that kind of ran that. And it's basically, like I said, it was an educational thing, but we got to go to like conferences and things like that. And man, we had the time of our life at those things.
Yeah, man. I remember I got thrown out of one of y'all's parties, man.
Yeah, man, we like to party. Yeah, yeah. You was in there, you was raising a little sand.
Well, I was with somebody. Though,
Yeah. You know what? I think I remember that.
Man, we got toss smooth out, man.
Yeah. They didn't play, man. They didn't play. Yeah, come there, have a good time, man, and yeah. Keep it cool.
So how old were you guys when you finally like tied the knot?
Oh wow, we got married. What was it? About 25, 26.
Okay.
My oldest is 25. So yeah, we got married in 05.
Okay.
05. So we've been married 20.
20 years?
Yeah.
Man, it's a blessing, man.
It is, man.
Yeah.
It is.
And then so you got 3 daughters, right?
3 daughters, yes.
3 daughters.
Yes.
Now that's what I kind of wanted to get into really today, man, because I have 4 daughters, but so no sons, right?
No sons, no sir. I always say it's like the game of baseball. 3 strikes you out. Didn't get no balls pitched.
So I was gonna ask you, like, what was the decision not to keep trying? You know what I'm saying?
Well, 3 at the time, man. We had Caitlin. That was our last one, and we figured, man, you know what? This family is big enough.
Yes,
you
sir.
know, and
yes, sir.
yeah, this is good right here.
Yes, sir.
No, yeah.
So that's kind of what I get to, man. Just because I'm a fellow girl dad myself, man. And so tell me this, like, when your first daughter came, like, did you feel like you knew what you was doing, or like you got this little person that you know it's a female, but it's like how do you what do you do with one of those, right?
Yeah. So I mean, this basically, man, is you learn on the fly almost. We was given I looked at my parents, of course.
Okay.
How they raised me or whatnot, and I know we living in a different times. Things that work for us may not work now.
Right.
But at the same time, I know the base, of growing up, my parents had me in church a lot. Right?
Okay.
And so that worked for me.
Yes, sir.
Right. So raising kids, daughters, whatnot, that's where they're gonna be on Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Same thing. So you just you get that base, and as they get older, it's gonna come back to them when times get rough and whatnot.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's one of the things I would say that helped us out a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, we brought them up in church.
Because I know you was a pretty no nonsense guy, like
I had my moments though. I had my moments. I love to laugh growing up. So anytime we can get a good laugh in, no matter what, man, I'm gonna do it.
That's a good joke.
Oh yeah. So I love to laugh, bruh. And I'm still the same way now.
Like I remember, like for me, like raising my daughters, man, it was like I had to kind of adjust because, like, I remember one time my daughter, like, she got like a B or something on her grade card, and I was like, yeah, that B is cool, you know what I'm saying? But next time, man, we just try to get that A.
Yeah.
Man, she bust out, started crying like, Dad, you don't know how hard I tried.
Right.
And I was like, oh, my fault. You know what I'm saying? So,
bro, I think that's just how girls are. You know what I mean? That mine's, you try to be gentle, and your dad, that's the daughter, you're gonna be overprotective.
Yeah.
Even if you say you do, you know. But at the same time, man, it's rough, finding that fine line where you don't want to. You want to push them in the right direction, but you don't want to be too overbearing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we get it, and sometimes we make mistakes and don't.
Yeah, man, I know.
It's a learning curve.
I made a few mistakes.
Yeah,
man,
we all have.
Boss my kids around like we used to play video games like when they was little, because I got married. I was 21, right? So,
oh yeah. You was probably one of the first ones, bro.
Right.
Out the group.
I think so.
Yeah.
My thing was, I was like, I think Quam got married.
Okay. Yep.
I think what happened was with me, the lifestyle I kind of was living, like before I got married, I felt like I was old man already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We ran hard early, so
we did.
Yeah. So I was like 21, like, I'm listening to, Tupac and Ice Cube and all that. I'm thinking like, I'm old man already, you know.
Above the law?
Yeah, above the law. Black Superman.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I agree with you, man. Early, like 18 through 21, 22, we got a lot of that out our system, right?
Sir. Yes, sir.
And by the time, it was time to settle down, I'm not missing anything no more.
Not at all.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the next step. We got kids. So it's time to grow up and do the man stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And
yeah.
And I went, like, I know a lot of guys from our class went to school or they went like to the military, but I went straight to work, man. Like, I didn't really, for me, like, it was kind of, kind of clear. I was just trying to take care of myself. So it was like, I'm going to go to work, school's cool. But I saw my brother, my brother Mike had went to Oklahoma in Mississippi.
Okay.
Right. For cause his grades, cause he got recruited by all the big schools, but he was supposed to go there and, but then he got hurt and he got out the hospital after he blew his knee out and his stuff was sitting outside the dorm. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so he had to catch the bus home, and then they sent my mom the medical bill, for the surgery. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was like, but then I knew like what my mom had went through, like for him to be in school, trying to send him some money or care package, and I was like, I know he probably not struggling.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, man.
I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm not about to. I don't really want to go to school in the first place, but I'm not about to go somewhere far away and be barely,
not
barely
around your
eating,
family.
you know what I'm saying?
And be
just
struggling.
Yeah. I just couldn't see doing that. I know that worked for some other guys, and in the military, I had a hard time people yelling at me and stuff. So like I was like, man, anybody be like, you know what I mean? So that for me that was a barrier, because even with football, we had some old school coaches. You know what I'm saying?
Better hurry up and know it.
So
Coach Price, Coach Woods, Coach T.
I had to swallow, I had to bite my tongue a few times, or just keep from not walking off, you know, because I ain't, want to quit. But that was interesting because I went to another school and it closed down. Went to Macomber first for 2 years, and then I came to Scott. But my brother Mike, he was Scott, all through and through. So when I came to when it's time to go to Scott, I wasn't gonna play sports. I wasn't gonna do. I was like, I don't know them like that. I don't want this and that. So school hadn't started yet, and then I had a situation where I had stayed out all night one time, and then I came home, in an inebriated state. My mom was like, "You gonna do something? You not to be running the streets, getting drunk, and doing this. So you playing football?" And I'm like, "I don't want to play." So my older brothers, right? They had pretty much bullied me into the car and dropped me off at practice.
At practice?
At workouts. We had evening, evening
workouts. Yeah.
But the funny thing was, I was crying like all the way to the to the practice. I don't want to play.
Oh man,
they jabbing me, elbowing me, and stuff. Oh, you playing? So the first day, like I guess I was looking too embarrassed, and they were like, "Man, get back in the car." So we pulled out. So.
What?
Yeah. So then the next day, we was going to do the same thing again, right?
Oh man!
But when we got to the field, it was like they pretty much was like, "Man, you get to crying today, man. We gonna beat you up out here." So
I was do or die at this point.
So I hopped out the car, man, dried it up, and just and just went in there. Man, I'm glad they did that.
I was about to say that probably was the best move you made.
Yeah, because we had a lot of stuff to get into back then, man.
No doubt.
So we came up on the in the crack era, and everything was out. Everybody was outside. Put it like that. That was pre internet video games and all that.
Cell phones.
So you want to see anything, you had to get outside. So that was the best decision, man. And then bonding with you guys. So then when school started, man, it just made it like I had a whole lot easier. I had some positive dudes. Like everybody did whatever they was doing, but still we had at least that goal of athletics. To hold on to. Like, we got to go to practice, so that keep you out of some trouble. You got games on Friday night, so that keep you out of trouble. So then we had to stay eligible, so it kept us a little bit more focused during those times. And then because I remember I played football and then wrestling. Then after that, like my third and fourth quarter, boy, I used to be struggling.
Getting close to the end.
Yep. So, but like this, so for athletics for me, that was a big thing, And then I know when I had started raising my daughters, the natural thing for me was like you say, like church. So I had became a Christian when I was about 21, 22 maybe, 21.
Okay. Yep.
And so that's why, and there was an old school at the time, Pentecostal. So we was in church like all day Sunday. We had second service.
Oh yeah.
We had,
we came
up like That's back when, somebody come into town, preach a fiery message, you going home, you throwing away your CDs, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I can remember them days, bro. We was in church probably like 4 or 5 days out the whole week.
Yeah.
Whether it was with, my parents' Bible study, junior choir rehearsal,
Yeah.
That's where we was at, So yeah, that helped out a lot.
Yeah, so I kept my kids at church, youth group and stuff like that. But then, like, man, we had got so first started off doing Y sports like t-ball and soccer, stuff like that.
Yep.
And then they got basketball, and then that turned into a whole travel thing and stuff like that.
Yep.
So did all three of your daughters play sports?
Yes. They all started off, basically when they was young. They did the tumbling, gymnastics, tap and jazz. They did all of that, right? And that's one of the things that I think helped us with raising our girls.
Yeah.
Keeping them active.
Yes.
No downtime really. And yes, all three of them played. My oldest two, they had the opportunity to basically, they kind of was close in age.
Okay.
Year and a half, 2 years apart. So they kind of played on the same teams until they got older.
Yeah.
And they did the travel softball.
Okay.
And as they got older, like eighth grade, freshman year, they kind of had to split.
Okay. Yeah.
So every weekend, we hitting the road.
For sure.
And sometimes we would go separate directions. My wife would go with one, I'll go with the other.
Okay.
One. And at the time, Caitlin was just, she stayed at her grandparents or she just went with one of us or whatnot.
Yeah.
But that was a good time, though. It was a good time. We kept the girls busy. They was doing something they enjoyed doing, and we had fun with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we had fun with it. And like I said, man, keeping them kids busy, you don't want to give them no idle time. Because sometimes that's when, bad things or, you can get into the stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
100%.
like I said, man, we kept them really busy. And I tell you what, it didn't feel like it then, but that time flew by doing that, you know. And just watching them grow up, man, go through their own little thing, it was.
Yeah, so I know from being males, like, did you feel like you had to? How do you feel like the dealing with the wins and the losses and the failures or successes or team politics or different how could I put it, personalities?
Yeah, all of them
parents, all that stuff.
Yeah, them is challenges we all have to go through, right? And with having girls, you like I said earlier, you got to just be tactful in how you approach them. But I kept it real with them. You know, hey, if it's your weekend, you stunk it up, you stunk it up. You know what I'm saying? But you're gonna have games like that. You gotta understand that, and you battle back and come back and play hard the next game.
Yeah, because that don't mean like when you have a bad performance, that don't mean that you're bad as a person. It just mean that just wasn't your day.
Yo, the pros go through that. The pros have bad days. So if they have bad days, what make you think you're not gonna have one? You know what I mean? So it's just a part of life, part of playing sports.
Yeah.
You bounce back from that, and then that kind of help out with your character a little bit.
For sure, 100%. I think as dads, man, like to help them deal, because we come from it, from a different perspective, because I know like when my kids were little, they had a rough day at practice, or they were sore, or they were this or that. My wife, because I think she did track for a while, but her mentality was, well, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. But I was like, no, like,
yeah, man,
like it's gonna be days where you don't want to do it. You're gonna be crying. You're gonna be thinking something wasn't fair. You're not being treated right.
Right.
But at the same time, like that's something that you want to do. You don't let nobody else, take it from you.
That's
you know
right.
What I'm saying?
That's
like,
right.
Even when one of my middle daughters, like she had wanted to play like college, right? But it had got to a point where, like, do you want to play or do you want to be chose? That's a different thing.
Yeah.
Like if you love basketball, like you're gonna play that regardless. You're gonna go if you got to walk on, or I know some of the smaller schools, they started doing almost like a JV track where you play for a couple years and then you work your way to varsity, even at at that level. So we have visited a few schools, and one school in particular, they were willing to give her basically it was a Christian school.
Okay.
And their thing was, we want our school to reflect God's kingdom.
Okay.
So it was primarily, a white institution, but they said like, we're not gonna tell you how much money we're gonna give you, but trust me, if you choose to come here,
We'll
it's
give
not
you
gonna be a basketball scholarship, but
Right.
your tuition probably be, we can get it close to covered as we can.
Mm-hmm.
And she had made a decision to where she didn't want to like go through that uncertainty of not knowing, what the amount was and what this was, what that was. But I was just like, well, if you want to play, you could play.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't, that's okay. But just be doing it for like really, reflect and think and do it for whatever reason. And once you make peace with it,
Yeah.
I'm good with it. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah. So didn't your daughters, are they playing?
Yeah. Oh,
college?
yeah. The oldest two, both of them, they got, scholarships. Just
Okay.
like you said, my oldest one, she went to Concordia, and it was like a, Christian university or whatnot. And yeah, she went down there. She played first couple years. Now, it was an adjustment for her,
Okay. Yeah.
being down there at that
Just
school.
culturally,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. It ain't a lot that look like them. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
So it was an adjustment. And I think one of the major things that took place while both of them was in school was COVID hit.
Oh man, yeah.
When COVID hit, that kind of changed the whole dynamics of college sports,
Okay,
with them anyway. And they decided, I think they had got started. They maybe played one tournament and then they killed the rest of the season. It was over with. And, that took a lot out of them.
Yeah.
And they decided, at that point, after the COVID thing was over with, she just said, look, I just want to go to school. I don't, want to play sports no more. So,
Yeah.
hey, if that's your decision,
Mm-hmm.
you're just going to have to live with it,
Yeah.
and we still here to support you.
Yes, sir. Like
So-
I had a funny story. Like my other middle daughter, like she had knee surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I think 8th grade. Like she tore her meniscus, and so she battled back and rehabbed, and she started playing again. But her knee would like swell up a lot,
Yeah.
and then. And she might get mad at me for saying this, but then she got a boyfriend, I think, like 10th grade.
Got one of them little Thundercats.
So, yeah, so I think, going to practice,
Yeah.
like I said, she was like, Dad, just,
Yeah.
my knee, I can't move like I used to. It just ain't for me. But then, man, she wind up her picking up shot put
Mm.
and almost, she was like 1 meter away from like qualifying for the state.
Oh, wow.
I said, man, all this money I'm putting in basketball. I
And
said,
you going to throw this metal ball,
you
huh?
should have told me you wanted to throw a rock. we could have got you. I could have got you a little personal trainer. And
Yeah.
We'd have been on the road.
Yeah, that's them things, man. You kind of just got to roll with it. You know what I mean? Because it could change overnight with them.
Yeah, man, you can't tell what's
right.
next,
And if that's what
know.
you want to do, like I said, we're gonna support you. You just going to have to live with your decision.
Man.
So I don't want to hear I should have stuck with it. Hey, man, you had the opportunity.
For sure.
Now, we all done been there. We all, done,
no
you know what I'm
doubt.
saying? So just another thing we have to learn as we, get older or whatnot.
Yeah, so let me ask you, like, so when you had, all right, so I know you work for oil refinery, right?
Yes.
So how'd you decide, because your job, like, a lot of people might not know it, man, but it's a dangerous job.
Oh,
you
very,
know?
very dangerous.
You got to be on, like, point. Like, it ain't no slouching or lounging around, no playing,
Yeah.
and that stuff. So
Yeah.
how'd you get, introduced to that field or, something like,
Well,
tell us
I had
about
my nephew. He worked for BP, and
Okay.
he had told me, man, whenever they have their next hiring class or whatnot, he would let me know.
Yeah.
And then I had another brother, older gentleman that was important, Brother Grace.
Okay.
He used to work out there at BP too. So he told me, hey, if you ever get on out there and you need somebody, to speak on your behalf,
Yeah.
I would love to do it. So both of them, I had both of them in my corner, and I was able to get in. And it's not easy, man. I think our first initial test, man, it was probably like thousands of people in there applying for that job.
Yeah.
And to make it through all of that,
Yeah.
the hiring process is special.
Yeah, because people don't know, like, because we live in the Midwest, so
Mhm.
like manufacturing and the different industries, it's like those are like careers for us. Like, you get on, like you say, like at an auto factory at that time,
Yep.
or with the city at that
Yep.
time, or
Yep.
like a or like your job, like oil refinery, like those are were really like coveted positions, you know, because you have decent benefits and vacations, and especially you trying to raise a young family, it's like we want some stability, man. And oil refineries, you guys weren't like subject to a bunch of layoffs and other that type of stuff, were you?
No, the biggest thing I think happened since I've been there, we did go on strike.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
contract negotiation and things like that. We did have a strike that
How long?
lasted.
How long
It lasted like 4 to 5 months.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Oh,
yeah. Yep. But we found a way to get through that as well.
Yes,
you
yes,
know.
sir.
But that job is raising a family and working at a refinery is kind of difficult.
Okay.
Because you do work, you put in a lot of hours, and you work a swing shift.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes your sleep get thrown off so
Right.
bad. You know, you find yourself on your off day after you don't work nights.
Yeah.
You staying up all night because your body is so used to being up and amped up during that time. It's hard to fall asleep.
Yeah.
So getting your rest is critical. You don't want to be at that job and woozy and you're not on point.
Right.
Because anything can go wrong and it will. You know, so you got to be prepared for all of that. And the training and everything we had prior to getting that job it was on point.
Yes, sir.
It was on point, but it's things that we got to do ourselves to keep us that way. Try to work out, stay up on your health. Like I said, get your rest when you can, and But the thing about it is, it requires so much time. It's gonna be some events you're gonna miss out on as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's gonna be some things you're gonna miss out just because you got to go to work. But it's gonna be some stuff I'm gonna make as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Like I know, like, cause I work with juvenile at-risk boys, so I know. So I'm like the primary caregiver, right? So a lot of things that I try to instill in them is mostly like you talking about is a work ethic.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you could have a willingness to work, you always gonna find yourself, in a place where you could take care of yourself.
Yes.
But if you always looking for a way out, like I got a couple boys like might not want to get up for school in the morning. I'm like, hey man, we got to go. Well, you hardly sleep last night. I couldn't sleep. I'm like, that's how it is, man. You're a grown man. Like, it's gonna be days where if you got a family or if you got things going on, you're not gonna get no 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially you're trying to, like, in our industries, when I was growing up, blue collar fields, like everything is you trading time for money, so to speak. So if they offer overtime, you're going to get it. That time and a half, that double time on certain days, on the weekend, on Sundays. So you're going to take those opportunities because that's how you get more for your family.
Right.
So, and I remember my wife was in school for a while, and I was working third shift, but we were sharing a car.
Yeah.
So I get off work, take the kids to school, then she had to go to school. Like sometimes I just recline the seat back, fall asleep in the parking lot. She get out of class, run her somewhere, then go get the kids from school. The next thing you know, you might have to help them with homework or run them to practice. Now it's time for me to go back to work. Yeah. I might have just got that nod off time in the car. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
it's sacrifices, man. You make, when that family is involved. You do what you got to do to make it work.
And definitely. So where'd you get? Did you feel like that work ethic? You saw that model that come from your dad, come from your brothers. Like how did that? Like, cause for me, just watching, like my grandparents, like they instilled in me a work ethic. Like when I was 11 years old, my granddad sat me down. I was living with them. He's like, "Hey, you gonna have to get a job." And I thought he was messing around. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he showed back then. They do the little checkbook. They had a little ledger. Like it's a light bill, this the gas bill, this the grocery bill. Like, you old enough now because he was from Oklahoma. So like, you old enough now. You're gonna have to get a job. So man, ain't nobody gonna hire me, man. I tell the story all the time, but anybody gonna hire me. But grandma, man, had a deacon. I grew up Catholic actually. A deacon at the Catholic church. He knew a guy that had a restaurant. Next thing you know, I'm working. I'm busting tables, $3.33 an hour. And then my granddad, he was old school. So like, if I was in the band, I had a little trumpet. I was 5th grade. One day I came home, my trumpet was going like that horn ain't gonna pay no bills. You know what I'm saying?
Find another time to blow that.
Right. So for me, he was so gangster with it. Right. Like okay. ain't nobody gonna take care of me. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to take care of myself.
Yeah.
Ain't no time for games and you know, certain things that's for pleasure. Like, you know, that's time out. So when I got married, and then it was like, well, you know, like I used to play video games and hang out and do all type of stuff. But when I got married, I started like scaling all that stuff back because I know I got responsibilities.
Yes,
man.
yes.
So for you, like where did that, like, how was that model for you?
Easily. My parents, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Since I can remember, they always worked,
Yeah.
right? And my parents both came from the South. My
Okay.
dad, Alabama. My mom came from Missouri. And they came from the South during that, you know, late 60s, 70 era.
Okay.
Where all the good jobs was up here, you know.
Mhm.
So they came up here. My dad ended up eventually getting hired at Ford Motor Company
Okay.
in Woodhaven.
Yeah.
And so I just remember growing up, man, seeing him and my mom go to work every day.
Yeah.
Routine, whether they felt like it or not, they was gonna work, you know,
Yep.
and that's instilled in you,
Yes,
right?
sir.
You see that's what you think it is, you know, that's what I need to do when I
Right.
get, you know what I mean? So yeah, they definitely instilled that in me. Mom, she dealt with she worked like with the nursery schools and things like that
Yeah.
all her life, you know.
Yeah.
And I seen them go to work every day.
Yeah, man.
And that's again what I see. That's what I did. You
Yeah,
know,
for
I'm
sure.
mimicking them in
For
those
sure.
areas or whatnot.
Yeah, because we didn't think it was no alternative.
No, it's you work
know?
or you don't eat,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that's what we were told. You work or you don't
For
eat.
sure.
And I love to eat, bro.
I heard that. Me too.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
100%, man. So how did, you know, as a dad, I know one of the hardest things for me was when, you know, my daughter started, you know, wanting to date. You know what I mean? I held on to the reins real tight. My oldest. So then my second daughter, you know, I don't say loosened up, but it seemed like she was like, you know, had a little easier road. And then my third one, you know, she probably had the easiest. But how'd you deal with that, man? I know that was tough for me, man. I mean, I had, you know, I think that's why I'm bald now. But I was gonna be bald anyway. But
I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. But yeah, that's not an easy one. But growing up in a house, man, with three girls, I honestly believe just from, you know, our how we reacted to each other, how we dealt with one another. I think my girls probably thought I was on the crazy end when it came down to that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I wasn't crazy, but, you know, I would tell them, yo, when the time comes, you know, for you to date, just, you know, remember everything I'm trying to tell you now.
Right.
You know, and you're going to have to apply that.
Right.
You just, you know, you don't know what tomorrow holds, you know, when it comes down to that dating, but just, you know, you remain yourself and just remember what you've been told.
Right.
And the example is your parents. You watching them, you know what I mean? You see how your dad interact with your mom and how he handled business. So that's, you know, when the time comes, those are some of the things you're going to look at.
Yeah.
You know, as far as them back in high school, they hung around a unique group of kids.
Okay.
And they all pretty much were, you know, athletes for the most part. And it was a group of them, males and females. You know, and I remember they would come to the house, you know, or we order pizza from them to eat, and they would just sit and chill. They was, you know, respectable kids. Probably one time I had to tell one of the young men, and I didn't do it in a way that was, you know, I'm over them or trying to be an authority to them or whatnot, but I pulled them off to the side. I said, hey, man, you got to pull your pants up while you're here.
Right.
You know, and just, you know, I was cool about it. And he was cool. He received it where he said, man, I know my granny and my mom be on me about that too. Yeah. So that's, you know, that's part of parenting. If you come over to my house, I'm gonna treat you like you're one of my own.
No,
you know what I mean?
100%.
And like I said, they ran with a group that was real respectable. So I didn't mind dealing with them kids. You know what I mean?
That's
Growing
awesome,
up.
man.
And as far as like my oldest two, they probably had little friends they talked to or whatnot. But as far as dating, I think they was out the house when they actually had boyfriends.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's no easy way to cover that. It's gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Sure,
You just
for sure.
get your mind right and be ready for it when it do.
And to be honest, man, the day and time we live in now, like for me, like I'm like, yeah, it's good that it happens.
Yeah.
That they do date. And that they,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Because
It's a part of life, man.
being with athletics, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You see different things and people choose different lifestyles and sort, you know, things of that nature. So I'm like, well, she like I tell my youngest, she's 12 now. I got a whole devil like, hey, you know, it's okay if you like little boy just don't be trying to do nothing strange with
Yeah,
him.
yeah. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt,
trying to
no
give her a
doubt.
game. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
that's that conversation
like,
we all have to have with
yeah,
them.
it's okay to feel, if
Yeah.
you got a little butterfly or something, that's all right. I mean, it's supposed to, but
we was there, we been there, done that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So you just, hey, we teaching you and let you know, things you need to do and not do.
Yeah, for sure.
You know.
But I know one of my daughters in particular, she's grown up, man, adult. She's real, she's a successful young woman. But she said she have a hard time sometimes with some of these young men because they feel like she's not passive enough. I don't know if that's they said because, but they blame it on me. Blame it on your dad raised you like a little dude or something. Like no, just because she don't have no she have like no nonsense or she not real giddy if she got an opinion, she stays not to be disrespectful, but she intelligent, she have conversations or, there's like ain't no such thing as just man talk and woman talk. Like no more like, hey, we all have ideas, we all bring something to the table, and there's nothing wrong with having those discussions. But I told her, I said, well, those dudes, if they can't handle like, just somebody, that have their own money, have their own stuff, and then now you're just not gonna just throw away your identity because you dating a guy. So she said she have kids have any problems like that or
definitely and I don't, that's no nonsense when you at their age early 20s, you got to be on the lookout for the foolishness. You know what I mean? And sometimes you got to be like, if I pick up on something that I don't like or I think is questionable for them, for the young lady, you're going to roll with it.
Right.
And if they can't deal with your, you being outspoken a little bit, not too much, but you know what I'm saying? You hold your own identity or whatnot. Yeah. And it's somebody out there for everybody. You just probably ain't found them yet.
Right.
So
100%.
You keep it going. You keep being yourself, taking care of yourself. And when that time comes for that right man, you'll know it.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to know it too.
Oh, man. That's man. That's like, dads, we had to navigate, when you were a dad, it's like, you have to navigate it with your girls, especially just what the expectations are. But then I still let them know, like, if they do stuff that I don't agree with, like, that don't mean like I don't love you or we still can't talk. Because I'd rather not agree with you being my daughter than some of the decisions that you're making, than just to close. I don't want you to never feel like you can't talk to me. Yeah, because there's so much going on in the world right now. It's like, but when you come to me though, not dealing with it, you gotta roll with that too, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's one of the things I try to instill in them. If you do something, be able to explain why you did it. Yeah. And that's gonna let you know right then and there, maybe if it was wrong or right.
Yeah.
If you can tell me why you did it, and we can talk about it.
Right.
We're gonna always be able to talk about it, but just make sure when you come to me with something, or if you need some advice, my door is always open.
Yeah, for sure.
And just open your mouth and say something. Even if I sense something ain't right, I'm gonna sit you down. Hey, how's everything going?
Right,
if I feel something a little off with you, I'm gonna question you about it. You ain't your normal smiley self. What's going on with you?
Right.
As fathers, that's we pick up on stuff like that. Yeah. Especially with them girls, man.
God, I feel like God give us a certain grace too.
Yes,
where
I agree.
He give us that discernment to understand, like, something ain't, even if you don't say nothing, you know what I'm saying? That's what people don't realize. Like, as a man, like I pray for my girls, man. It's like
every day.
And it's like, because you want to protect, you want to always be that, go-to guy, but you gotta understand that, like God the only one really could, keep them. We could protect just from we like little on the spectrum of the world as far as like God, like, man, you gotta keep them because I know they out of my covering, man.
No
just
doubt.
Please, just guide them and keep them safe, man. That's, as a dad, I think that's one of the strongest things that I believe a man can have, is a relationship with God, because especially having a family, because there's been a lot of days where I don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have the answers.
Right.
I'm like, man, you're gonna have to help me with this one, because I'm, and even in the way that I want to deal with certain things, like, I still got a family, so you know, you can't just jump off the porch like we would back in high school
Yeah,
or
back in the
college.
day. Yeah,
or,
go tackle this situation right quick.
Right.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
call up the fellas, you know, and just, you know, just handle it. But
Hey, I agree with you 100% on that. You know, it's not easy. You know, it's not always easy. And then, like you said, when they're not in our sight and they're off on their own, the best thing we can do is just, you know, continue to pray for them, right?
Yeah.
And you leave it there. Because it's like I said, man, some of us, when we at work, you really can't be worried about other things. You got to focus on what you need to focus on, and vice versa. When you're at home, leave that work stuff at work. But, you know, with them girls, bro, I worry just because sometimes I know how it is out here right now.
Right.
I see what's going on in the world, and every time you turn around, it's something crazy going on.
No, 100%.
And the last thing I want to do is, you know, hear something about one of my girls, you know? So, yeah, every day I get up, man, I have to, you know, ask God, hey, take care of them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave it in your hands, and I ain't going to worry about it. I'm going to get through my day, and I know you're going to do what you do.
Right, for
You
sure.
know? So I feel you on that.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. So, so this is Two Cups Cafe, man. You know,
No doubt.
I call it, you know, 2 cups, one for the wake, one for the work. You know, I came up with that like a few years ago. Like I said, I take care of a young men, so I'll find myself before I wake them up from school, or it's still dark outside. I make my coffee, and I'm drinking that first cup. But while I'm drinking that first cup, I'm just kind of meditating and kind of just, you know, just see what I'm looking forward to, what I'm kind of marinating on, and then by the time I get that second cup, now it's time for the work. So it's one for the wake, one for the work. But I always try to ask my guests like what's your wake and your work? Like what's when you get up in the morning, what's kind of leading you, and what's next steps, or what you dreaming about, what you know, as far as for yourself, for your family, and then the work, what things can you see putting in place to, you know, get to make that happen?
Yeah, so like you said, man, when you wake, of course, first thing I do is, you know, give thanks.
Yeah.
And you know, that's my way of saying, you know, hey, I done woke up this morning.
Yes, sir.
I got my job to do. I got my family to look after, and we about to get this done no matter what.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And just knowing that, you know, it's people depending on you is enough to keep you pushing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's people that, you know, I got to make sure they eat.
Yeah.
I got to make sure they protect it.
Yeah.
And that in itself, man, that's enough for me.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, it was different, you know, when we grew up 20s and we just working for ourselves. You know, it's, you know, hey, I don't want to work there, I'll go get another job. It's just me. I don't require that much. But as being a man and growing up, realizing you have a family to, you know, take care of.
Yeah.
That's the motivation, all the motivation I need in the morning when I get up, knowing that, I'm a making, they are too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
No, I like that, man. So you would say your family is what keeps you
no doubt
motivated.
No doubt.
I mean, and don't matter how, for me, I've noticed, like, don't matter how old, like, my children are, like, I still have one at home. I know you have one at home too, but
senior.
It's just like, man, that is motivation. Like even my wife, like she motivates me, because I know she not the type of person that like gimme, but I want to do for her.
Oh, no
you know,
doubt.
I want to take her nice places. I want to experience life, you know, different experiences. So it's like that motivates me too. And I know you like spending time with your wife.
As
well.
We done ran into each other while we out, right? and hooked up a few times.
Yep.
So yeah, man, we yes indeed love going to. Like I said earlier, man, I love to check out a new restaurant and things like that. So yeah, I look forward to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I know we you know, we got some our classes, you know, pushing 50 right now.
Yeah.
A lot of us turn 50. A lot of us about to turn 50, man.
Yep.
Like, how did you look at the age we are now, say, like, in your 20s? Like, is it what you imagined? Is it better than you imagined? Or
you know what, man? It's funny you asked that. I can remember, you know, being in 20s and looking at somebody that was 50. They old, man. It's old, man. But guess what? You that old guy now, right? I'm 50, but I don't feel 50. You know what I mean? That's just how it was back there. Look at this old dude. You know what I mean? Wasn't being disrespectful. I'm just saying, you know. But now, fortunately, we made it this far.
Yes,
you know, to be 50 and still here. So that's a blessing in itself.
I know, like me, I got this gray beard. So,
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes, people think I'm older than 50,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember I thought 40 was old, man.
Yeah.
Like my martial arts instructor, I remember we had a birthday party, like a gag party for him when he turned 40. Like all his students, we all bought him like old fart cards and what I'm saying.
Dog that cat out,
Oh
man.
man, we let him have it. And he was 40.
Mm-hmm.
But
Feel
man,
that.
I mean, I remember thinking like you 40, like you like, but 50.
Yeah, I know, bro. I know. Yeah, it's an adjustment, but at the same time, man, like I said, man, we here at 50. That's a blessing.
Man,
And
I'm so blessed, man.
Yeah.
Because how could I put it? Like I didn't plan to be 50. So like it was only the last maybe since I was 40. I was like when you go into life and you don't have plans, I'm gonna just take care of these kids, I'm gonna take care of my wife, I'm just gonna pay these bills. I didn't have like a strategic, retirement plan or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? But then it was like just by the grace of God that He allowed me to be like kind of redeem the time a little bit from when I wasn't, like I eat better now than I used to. You know what I'm saying? Like I try to look after myself more because it's like, well, I'm still here. I kind of like being here.
Yeah, I really don't want to go nowhere no time soon.
Right.
So yeah, let's make sure we here.
For sure.
Yeah.
So tell me about. I mean, I know you. What you been doing, like, far as like in your grown man years, and make sure you're gonna be here as long as you can.
Well, biggest thing, I do my best trying to eat right.
Okay.
Try to hit that gym whenever I can.
Yeah.
And just take it easy, man. And like I told you earlier, we got a senior in the house, so she's gonna be in somebody's school, right? And so we're gonna be empty nesters. Besides,
man.
you know what I'm saying, having the dogs there with us. So I'm looking forward to that time, man, just to start, doing a whole lot more traveling and things like that.
You got any bucket list places you want to go?
Honestly, not really.
Okay.
I enjoy traveling.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I really like the last minute spur of the moment type.
Yeah, let's just go.
Yeah, let's go somewhere. I look forward to things like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And like I said, when we become empty nesters, it's gonna be a lot of that.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to them days.
Get your bag, girl. Let's go.
Get your bag. Let's go. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I was able to mark off one of my bucket list places, man. This past year. Like my wife knew, but a lot of people didn't know. Like I always wanted to go to the Grand Canyon, man.
Grand Canyon.
Yeah, it was just like I never knew why.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to go to the Grand Canyon. And,
yeah.
And she's like, "You finally got to get to the Grand Canyon." I was like, "Yeah, we had an awesome time, man." I went to the Grand Canyon. I got a chance to go out to the Sedona. They had all the red rock structures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so we spent a whole day and we went to like a Native American reservation and stuff like that. And then while I was out there, we got a chance to hook up with one of my homeboys, Damon Sutton. He lives in Tempe.
Yeah.
So we got a chance to eat some good food, hang out with him and his wife. And then that Sunday, when they got to see the Detroit Lions whoop up on the
Cardinals,
man.
Wow,
so that was great.
Bro.
But my friend Rob, he said I'm bad luck though for the Lions back home because only 2 home games I made it to this year. They lost both of them. He like, man, you ain't stay your butt at home.
Oh man,
I went to the Buffalo Bills. They lost to them, and then they wind up losing to the Washington Commanders, man.
Oh, okay. Oh man, you know what was ironic, man? About 3 weeks ago, we actually took my youngest daughter to Arizona.
Oh, okay.
And she went to go visit Arizona State.
Yeah.
And then the University of Arizona. So we was just down there, and dude, it's beautiful out there, man.
Right? It's nice.
Yeah, just traveling to get to see all the scenery, like the mountains and stuff. That was nice.
Yeah,
it was nice
too, because we from the Midwest, so most of all our stuff is flat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just like I said, man, the scenery out there is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Really beautiful, dude.
Yeah, for sure. So
man, I didn't realize something was in Tempe.
Yep.
Oh wow,
in Tempe, man.
Yeah,
he doing nice out there, man. we went, went to Scottsdale and
Okay.
hung around. He took us to some places, got some good food, and man, it was.
On it, man.
And
Yeah.
the thing that made it so crazy was, I wound up apologizing to him while I was out there. I was like, man, you've been living here 20 years.
Yeah.
This is my first time. Because he always come home.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's a good friend of mine. He always come home. We hook up, get some Gino, stop by his mom's and his sisters and all that. But I was like, man, you've been living out here 20 years, man. This is my first time, checking in on
Right,
you, man. He
right.
You know how he is. Like, oh, man,
Come on
he's
now.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Families and this and that. I was like, nah, man, like my bad, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't going to take me another 20 years to see about you out here, bro.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I remember when he came home because I forgot where I was at. I had ran into a big trip in Dana.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she had said then he was going to be home. But I think the weekend he was here or that week he was here, my work schedule was, jacked up and I couldn't get away.
Yeah.
But I wanted to see dude, man. It's been a minute.
Man.
I don't think we've seen each other since high school.
Yeah, talking about somebody like to laugh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Boy, I remember them days, man. We used to have all kind of crack sessions up in that school, bro.
For sure, man.
Man.
That dude
Good
was
old
silly,
days.
man.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed.
But yeah, man. Like I said, man, I just, man, grateful, man, that, we was able to do the 30-year reunion thing, man. And,
yeah.
We got a chance to, break bread a couple times since then. And, I just want to just bring you by, man, and just have this conversation, man, because I think that dads, man, are so important. When I think about fathers and I think about, stand-up guys, man, you like one of the first images, in my mind when I think about that, man. So I was like, man, I want to have Joe on, man. We just talk about, raising our families and just being dads, man.
Hey, dude, I appreciate that, man. And you yourself as well. You doing your thing, man. Very proud of you, bro.
Oh, man, appreciate it.
Yeah, I look at where, 30 years ago, where we were at,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And then we're still here.
Yes, sir.
And we doing it, you know what I'm saying? Making it happen for our families, making it happen for ourselves.
Yeah.
And, bro, I'm very proud of you, man.
Oh, man, I appreciate
Yeah,
that, man. Likewise,
no doubt,
man.
no doubt, no doubt.
And tell the missus, man, like we look forward to hanging out with you guys, man.
We're going to make it happen.
Make it
yeah,
happen.
we're going to make it happen. Definitely. You do the same, bro.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, man, just like as I'm closing out, man, just appreciate you coming by. And,
Okay, yeah.
And we're going to hang out. And Bulldogs, man.
Yeah,
for life,
2400, baby. You better believe it.
Hollywood.
You better believe it. Yeah, and I appreciate it, man. Appreciate the invite, bro.
Yes, sir.
Anytime, man.
Yes, sir.
Anytime.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. All right, this has been Two Cups, man. Just like, subscribe, share. This is where we just have good conversations with
No
good
doubt.
people, man, and just hopefully that something said that it could spark something and encourage somebody to keep going. And until next time, Two Cups.
Peace.